You are scrolling through Facebook. You just wanted to watch some cat videos to relax. Suddenly, a notification pops up. An old friend just bragged about a six-figure salary. They posted a photo from a vacation spot you only dream about. Immediately, a shiver runs down your spine. It is not excitement for them. It is a sharp sting in your chest. It is a dull annoyance. It feels like someone is scraping a spoon against your brain. Do not pretend you have never done it. Do not deny it. Everyone has. You tell yourself you are not jealous. You are a good person. Yeah, sure. But your brain does not think so. It is screaming an ancient message. That guy has more resources than me. I am losing. Danger. Danger. You see, this annoying competitive feeling is not a software bug. It is not because you are a bad person. It is a call from your ancestors. It is a survival program installed tens of thousands of years ago. The question is, why our modern brain, which uses Google Maps and food delivery apps, is still obsessed with competing with others? Why do we suffer when we see others succeed, even if it does not affect our own dinner at all? Not that kind. Let us rewind time. Back to when Facebook was just dusty cave walls. Grog does not have social media. Grog does not have a six-figure salary. Grog only has one obsession: a piece of antelope meat. In Grog's world, life is a zero-sum game. If the neighbor eats that meat, Grog goes hungry. If Grog does not get it, he dies. It is that simple. There is no growing together. There is no win-win. There is only, I win, you lose. Grog's world is a limited pie. Resources are extremely scarce. If you are not quick, if you do not fight, if you do not compete to the end, you become dinner for a saber-toothed tiger. Or worse, you starve to death. Grog does not fight because he is a bad guy. Grog fights because he wants to survive. Imagine you are in a marathon. The runner next to you just got water, but you did not. Do you feel annoyed? Yes. Do you want to grab that bottle? Absolutely. That is instinct. But this instinct is a total idiot. When we moved from caves to apartments, from hunting antelope to chasing KPIs, our brain kept that old software. It still thinks resources are limited. It still thinks if someone else has a fancy car, it means you are losing your chance to have one. Grog once tried to flex his pebble collection to impress a mate, but he was rejected because his stones were just too small. Not that kind. He was not rejected because of the stones. He was rejected because he could not prove his status. But wait, here is the fun part. Why do we compare ourselves? Because in the evolutionary world, status is the key to accessing resources. If you are at the top of the status pyramid, you eat better. You are protected better. You have more chances to pass on your genes. Your brain does not measure wealth by the number in your bank account. It measures it by social status. Grog sees a rival with a bigger stone axe. Immediately, his brain signals a warning. Status is dropping. So what does Grog do? He tries to make his axe bigger by... Grog looks at his rival's axe, then looks back at his own. Insecurity kicks in. He decides to upgrade his weapon. He glues on leaves and sticks. He makes the axe look twice as big as it should be. He swings it, trying to look powerful. The result? The axe snaps in half on the first swing. Grog is left standing there with a bare wooden handle and a pile of dead leaves at his feet. Do not laugh. That is exactly what we do today. We glue leaves onto our lives. We do it with fancy photos online. We do it with luxury goods bought on credit. We do it with shiny job titles on LinkedIn. We try to make our axe look bigger. We just want to hide the truth. Deep down, we are still shaking because we are afraid of losing. But let us look deeper. Why has competing become a life or death obsession? In Grog's world, if you have no status, you get pushed to the edge of the tribe. At the edge of the tribe, the chance of being eaten by a beast is extremely high. Status is not just vanity. Status is a shield that protects your life. Our brain, after millions of years of evolution, has not updated its software. It does not realize that you do not need to be the best hunter to get dinner anymore. It still believes that if you are not better than others, you will be cast out. Do you see the absurdity? We live in a world of abundant resources, Someone else's success does not take the meat off your plate. But your brain is still camping in a cave. It is clutching a broken axe and staring at your neighbor's food. That is a fatal mistake. We are using a brain designed for scarcity to operate in a world of abundance. The result? Constant anxiety. We are jealous of things that do not matter. We compare ourselves to people who are not even in our league. We suffer in races that we do not even know why we joined. Grog did not know any better. Grog just knew that if he did not have the meat, he would die. But you have food in the fridge, you have the internet, you have safety, yet you still feel hungry. Hungry for recognition, hungry for superiority, hungry for the feeling of being a winner. This loop never stops. The moment you reach the status you think you need, your brain finds a new, higher rival for you to compete with. It is a game with no finish line. The bad news is that the grog in your head will never rest. Not unless you actively flip that switch off. But before we do that, we need to understand the damn dopamine that controls all our behavior. But wait, have you ever wondered why winning makes you feel so high? It is not just about the food. It is a natural drug, and we are all addicts. Wait a second. If it is just about food, why do we envy people who are not even competing for our resources? Why does it bother you when a famous actor buys a mansion even though they are not touching your dinner? Here is the fun part. Dopamine is not just a reward for being full. It is a reward for being superior. When you win a game, when you get praised, or simply when you feel better than someone else, your brain releases a massive hit of dopamine. That feeling. It is better than any antelope meat Grog ever ate. It is a natural drug that keeps us wanting to climb higher on that invisible status pyramid. Grog wins a stone-throwing game and he gets hooked on that feeling. But here is the problem. Dopamine has a weird trait. You build a tolerance fast. You achieve something, you feel great for a few minutes, and then that high wears off. To get that feeling back, you need a bigger dose, a tougher rival, a bigger axe, a flashier title. That is why we never feel like we have enough. You just hit a goal. Congrats. You got your dopamine hit. But tomorrow, your brain will force you to find another goal because it is already used to the current level. Now look at the modern world. We are using Grog's brain to live in an Instagram world. Modern Grog sits in his apartment, phone in hand, scrolling through hundreds of photos of perfect lives. His brain keeps getting signals. You are losing. You are losing. They have more dopamine than you. So he tries to flex back. He takes a photo of his instant noodles under dim light, using a filter to make it look like a 5-star feast. He is trying to trick his own brain into thinking he is winning too. It is funny. We are working so hard to maintain a status shell, while in reality, we are still eating noodles in the dark. We are not just competing with others. We are competing with our own shadows. Your brain is still running on 50,000-year-old hardware, but the environment has completely changed. You are using a stone axe to hack a digital system. The result? Burnout, anxiety, and an emptiness that never gets filled. We are trapped in the comparison game, where the biggest enemy is not your neighbor. It is the dopamine mechanism that keeps demanding another hit of victory. Are you tired yet? I am exhausted just thinking about it. But do not worry, because we still have an ace up our sleeve, a truth that can completely change how you view this race. So what do we do about it? Should we throw away our phones, run into the woods, and live like Grog to escape this dopamine trap? No, do not do that. Grog has no Wi-Fi, and trust me, you would not last 2 hours. Envy and competitiveness are not your fault. It is old software running on new hardware. You cannot delete these evolutionary lines of code, just like you cannot tell your heart to stop beating. But you can do something else. You can become the programmer. Realizing this truth is the key. When you feel annoyed because a friend is bragging about their salary, instead of beating yourself up or trying to flex back, just pause for a beat. Tell yourself, oh, Grog is having another episode. When you name that emotion, you detach from it. You are no longer a slave to your instincts. You are the observer. That is the difference between an animal driven by dopamine and a conscious human being. When you stop comparing, you are not losing. You are just upgrading your own software. You are choosing to live by your own values instead of chasing someone else's status metrics. Think about it. If you did not have to prove you were better than anyone, what would you do with all that energy? Would you spend time on real hobbies instead of things just for the gram? Would you learn a new skill for passion instead of trying to outshine your coworkers? True freedom is not about where you stand on the status pyramid. It is about not caring about that pyramid at all. When you accept that everyone has their own race, with different hurdles and starting lines, envy will slowly fade away. Do not get me wrong, I am not saying you have to become a saint who feels nothing. You will still feel a sting, you will still feel a bit jealous. But next time that feeling hits, pat the grog in your mind and say, "Thanks for helping me survive the Ice Age, but I am good now. I do not need to fight for that piece of meat anymore." That is not giving up. That is growing up. We spent tens of thousands of years evolving from cave-dwelling scavengers into thinking beings. Do not let Grog's brain drag you backward. You are a modern version. Live like one. It is time to turn off the auto-compete mode and start living the life you actually want. A life that does not need to be compared to anyone. There you go. Next time you feel that sting from a bragging post or feel restless because someone else is moving faster, pause for 3 seconds. Do not react. Pat the grog in your mind and whisper, "Thanks for helping me survive the hard days, but I am good now. I do not need to fight for that piece of meat anymore." Realizing you are being driven by old instincts is the moment you take back control. We do not compete because we are bad or selfish. We compete because our ancestors had to win, had to fight, and had to stand on top of the status pyramid to survive in a world of scarcity. That was a perfect survival tactic for the cave. It is an unnecessary burden in the modern world. When you stop comparing, you are not losing. You are just refusing to run a race where the finish line moves every time you get close. Remember, envy is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. It just burns you out. It steals your joy. Most importantly, it makes you forget who you are. You are not an animal fighting for a scrap of meat. You are a human with self-awareness. You have the power to choose your own values. This world is big enough for everyone. Someone else's success is never an obstacle to your happiness. So let Grog rest. He did his job for 50,000 years to get you here. Now it is your turn to drive. Next time you feel jealous, do not fight it. Just smile at it and keep walking. You do not need to be the best, the richest, or the most famous. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. That is the only victory that matters. And trust me, that feeling is better than any dopamine hit you get from competing with others. Now, put the phone down, go outside, and enjoy your own life. After all, you are not living to please that old software, right?